Local activist organization Greening Greenfield has chosen Claire Chang and John Ward as green heroes. We chose them because they inspire us, says Nancy Hazard of Greening Greenfield. The pair is perhaps best known for promoting and installing solar power through their business, the Solar Store of Greenfield, which they've owned for the past 8 years. But their passion for the environment and their activism started even earlier.
I found out about an NRC hearing, Nuclear Regulatory Commission hearing in Brattleboro, and I thought, oh, well, I can go to this. And I went, and it was in one of those big hotel conference rooms. And there were at least 100, if not more, people from the community who were patiently coming up and speaking from their heart, one by one.
Claire started working on the Vermont Yankee issue, and that sparked something in me. I was working as a foreign car mechanic at the time, and I looked what they were doing and said, you know, I wouldn't take a car that has been on the road for that many years and soup up the motor and put it on the racetrack without taking a look at the brakes and the ball joints and all of the other safety systems. You know, you can do paperwork and say they haven't been on there that long, they should be okay. I just didn't feel that that reactor got it didn't get a clean bill of health from me.
I joined Shut It Down and actually was involved in several disobedience acts, either at headquarters for Entergy or actually down at the nuclear reactor. And then from there, I realized that I also needed not just to work against something, but to work for something.
I had an interest in solar, you know, many years ago when solar was really just kind of a pipe dream for everybody. And when I quit doing the foreign car gig, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life at that point, and we just happened to walk into the solar store, and Mark, the original owner, asked if I had any interest in coming on as a partner. And it was really serendipitous because I had given my notice 6 hours earlier.
So for the individual homeowner, we can't put in wind turbines or larger size systems. In order to truly create clean, renewable energy in our own homes and replace fossil fuels, solar PV, photovoltaic electric generation, and hot water are principally the major generating sources that a small person can actually have the capital, money, and the other resources to be able to contribute to the distributed energy revolution that we all need to be participating in.
I think early on the challenges were really that it wasn't in the consciousness of many people. Sure, we're in a progressive area here, but mainstream consciousness was not on environment and energy and what energy is doing to the environment, doing to the planet. There were two things that kept us going in the beginning. One was our real desire to educate people and make change. And the other thing was that we had made our lifestyle so that our needs were very small. We didn't have to have a business that made a lot of money. Our expectations were not that high. We eliminated our utility bills, and I had paid off my mortgage many years ago and just made it so that financially we weren't locked into having to do something that we didn't want to do just to chase the almighty dollar.
If environmental awareness has made solar power more popular, technological improvements have made it increasingly viable. Solar trackers, for example.
So what a tracker does is it points where the sun is supposed to be at any given moment, all day long, every day of the year. So if the sun is not behind a cloud or not behind a tree, the tracker is facing exactly the right direction to pick up the rays from the sun at exactly the best angle. Because of the advances in electronics over the last several years, it became much easier to do the electronic controls for these trackers. And all of those things conspired to make a package that was robust and cost-effective.
The costs since 2012 have really come down. So those early adopters in 08 through 2012, they were paying far more, almost double what someone pays now.
Since we've embraced the trackers, I've just been more and more excited about the amount of production that you get from them. They can be put in places where, the people don't have the roof faces the wrong direction, or it's slate, or it needs to be beefed up too much, or any of the other reasons why roofs don't work here in rural western Massachusetts.
The solar store is a fixture now in Greenfield, and homeowners increasingly choose solar to power their homes. But John and Claire want change to happen more quickly. Increasingly, they're devoting their time to lobbying legislators to give solar what they call an even playing field.
There's a website called solarisworking.org, where a group of us just basically said, we cannot let the legislature, and particularly the utilities, steamroll everybody else down just because they don't like solar, because they can actually see the handwriting on the wall and they're trying to erase it as fast as they can. Solar is coming, let's deal with it, and let's make it so that we can be friends and actually work together to get solar moving, because at the incremental rate that we're moving now, we're not going to get there.
The legislature is really where the political climate is set. Whatever incentive programs are in place, whatever the utilities are doing for net metering, how easy or hard it is to do interconnection applications with the utilities. The utilities have wield a lot of power in how easy they can make it to do business in a state.
It's just pitiful. We're basically at about 2 or 3% in Massachusetts of the electric load is solar. 2 or 3%, that's not enough. We need to get to 20 or 30% to have enough difference to keep greenhouse gases low enough so that we don't go over the 2.5 or 1.5 or 2 degrees Celsius.
The legislature has the ability to draft laws that will influence what the utilities do and what the regulators do one direction or another. So if you can change the trajectory of what the utilities are doing or what the regulators are asking or forcing the utilities to do, if you just change that trajectory just a little bit, the path can diverge quite a bit as you go further down the road. So yes, what I would really like to see is through legislative channels a real sea change in the business model that the utilities have to adhere to.
What makes it work are the people. It's really actually great to talk to people every day who really want to participate and have some part in making a decision in their lives that helps move us away from fossil fuels. There are a few people who are doing it for financial reasons, but not very many. And I would say on the whole, most everybody who comes in, their first and foremost concern is how to make a change in their lives and in their energy use so that they can be, renewable and clean.
There were a handful of Western Mass solar companies. There were a handful of Massachusetts solar companies that actually spent the time to do anything about getting into the State House, talking to the legislators, testifying at the Solar Net Metering Task Force, trying to inject a little bit of reason into what was going on in the DPU. it's not easy. And I guess maybe one of the things that really feels good about banging your head against the wall for a long time is when you stop for a minute and, you look back and you say, well, it feels better that I've stopped. It also feels better that the hard work that I've done has made some kind of change.